Everything that used to work in marketing doesn't work anymore. Companies are out there running their marketing like it's 2019, and those days are long gone. I'm going to show you what's broken, what companies are wasting their time and money on, and what exactly you should be doing instead. There are three major forces that in the last few years have completely rewritten the rules on how marketing works. The first is the zero-click reality. When people search for something on Google, they're more often than not getting an AI result that summarizes what the pages below that would have said. That means that if you used to have a page on your site that ranked really well for answering a certain question, Google's now going to answer that question themselves and never send people to your site. On top of that, a lot of people are now using AI to answer questions where previously they would have performed a search that might have sent them to your website. Gartner projects that organic search traffic is going to drop by more than 50% by 2028. I think that's conservative. I think it's actually going to drop by a lot more than that. The second major force is the trust deficit. It used to be that the best way to position yourself as an expert or an authority on something was to have smart things to say and to say them in a smart way. But then AI came along, and now anyone can sound pretty smart and anyone can say something in a pretty professional way. And of course, that led to a tsunami of people creating AI business slop and enthusiastically posting it online. It's painful to spend time on LinkedIn now because it's so obvious how much of the content being posted there was just regurgitated by AI with minimal input from the author. So now the bar for what counts as a valuable human contribution that shows your intelligence is higher than it's ever been. And anything that's nice and neat and polished and pretty and professional makes people skeptical. And the third major force that's rewritten the rules of marketing is dark social. In the olden days, when a business wanted to hire a service provider, they would perform a search, find several viable candidates, bring them in, have them do a pitch, and then make a decision on who they want to hire. That's not how it works anymore. Now, a significant amount of that research is happening in places that your analytics can't track. Private Slack communities, LinkedIn DMs, podcasts, word of mouth at industry events. A prospect might get your name from a former client, search online, find an old podcast interview that you did, use an AI deep research project to find everything out about your company, use another AI chat to compare you with different companies and find out which one's the best fit, and then have made a decision about your company before you ever heard of them. By the time you get a name and email address and phone number, they've probably already made their decision. That's not the start of the pitch, it's the end. And you don't have a nice, neat, trackable sales funnel for your website to show how everything's working at each of those stages. It used to be that you would have detailed analytics on your sales funnel, and you just don't get to anymore. You don't get to have that information. Those forces are why everything that used to work doesn't work anymore. So what does work? I'm going to show you the exact hierarchy you need to generate clients this year. One quick thing before we go any deeper. All of this assumes that you actually already have an effective positioning strategy in place that you're going to build all of this stuff on top of. That means you already have a narrowly defined target audience, you know exactly what their real problem is that you can solve, and you know how you solve it in a way that's genuinely unique from your competitors. Honestly, most service firms have a giant gap here. You probably think you have the answers to these questions, but you probably have the same answers that all of your competitors do. I already have a bunch of other videos on that subject, so that's not what I'm covering here. After this video, go and check out some of those and make sure that your answers really hold up. And if they don't, that's something I help companies with, so reach out. Level 1, referrals. For a service business, trust is the product. You're not selling a physical widget that someone can expect before they buy it. You're selling your expertise, your insight, your perspective, and someone actually has to believe in those things before they write you a check. But for all the reasons we've talked about, that's hard to prove through a website. Let's say your website says that you do amazing, outstanding, high-quality work. Is anyone going to believe it? No, not really, because that's what everyone says. Now, let's say the client talks to a friend, and that friend says, yes, we've been using this firm for 6 years, and they do amazing, outstanding, high-quality work. Does that client trust you now? Hell yeah. When they finally reach out to you, you don't have to sell them, you just have to not mess it up. Referred clients close in a fraction of the time it takes other leads to close. They have significantly higher retention rates, which means overall lifetime value goes up significantly. And you want to hear something crazy? 91% of satisfied clients would refer someone if you ask them. But only 11% of salespeople actually ask for those referrals. So almost all of your clients would direct business your way if you ask them, but almost nobody asks. Most firms treat referrals as luck, as something that happens to them. They cross their fingers and hope that someone gives them a referral. But this can actually be engineered. Identify the trigger points where it would be natural to ask for a referral. Maybe it's a check-in point where the client says that they're happy. Maybe it's the project completion point. Maybe it's after they provide feedback after the project. These are your windows of opportunity, and you need to build into your processes to actually ask for those referrals. Second, you want to build relationships with COIs, centers of influence. These are other service providers who serve the same clients that you do and who could refer you if they knew you and understood what you do. A wealth manager might partner with a CPA firm or an estate planning attorney. An IT services firm might partner with a software vendor or a fractional CTO. A custom home builder could partner with an architect and an interior designer. These relationships take longer to build than a traditional client relationship, but once they're established, they can provide a permanent source of new business. And not just random leads, referrals that convert higher and faster and better. You can't hope for referrals. You have to build a system that generates them methodically. Level 2 is founder-led content. When someone gets a referral, what do? They look you up. What do they find when they look you up? Probably nothing if you're like most founders. But what you could have is a bunch of articles and videos and podcasts that reinforce your expertise and authority within the space. And that content doesn't just support referrals. That actually can get picked up by algorithms and shown to people who've never heard of you or your business before. People don't want to follow companies. They don't want to follow an account that has a logo instead of a face. They want to hear from people. Take a look at your LinkedIn feed. How far do you have to scroll down before you see a post from a company that's not just a paid ad? Content posted on personal profiles gets 5 to 10 times as much reach there. 73% of decision makers say that they trust thought leadership over marketing materials. And 75% said that thought leadership content led them to research services that they hadn't previously been in the market for. This is how you sell to your clients before you even know they exist. You need 3 types of content. The first is expertise content, where you demonstrate your actual knowledge. These are the more technical pieces. The second is belief content. These are your strong opinions and contrarian views. This is where you disagree with the prevailing wisdom of your industry. And the third is vulnerability content. This is where you show the human side of running a business. These are the hard decisions you've had to make. These are the lessons learned. And this is where you can post personal stuff as well, just to show that you're not just a sales robot. You actually are a human being. Basically, the stuff AI can't create for you. All of this content together is what proves your EEAT, expertise, experience, authority, and trust. And this is what helps you show up in search engines and in AI answers. And then the third level is paid advertising. And this doesn't mean generic pay-per-click ads the way you might have thought of them in the past. Most of this budget should go toward promoting posts that you've already shown have been successful for you in the past. So you're not running display ads that say, "Hire us, we're amazing." You're boosting content that you've already seen great results from. And remember, paid advertising is the fuel, not the engine. Once all this other stuff is working, then you do paid advertising to amplify it. If you pour gas into a broken engine, you're just wasting money. So that's it. Build it in that order and don't skip any levels. This is your marketing plan for this year.